Skip Mclaughlin is a serial entrepreneur who started 4 successful businesses and sold them to Fortune 100 companies. And now he's writing a book called The Purpose is Profit: The Truth About Starting and Building Your Own Business. Why is the purpose profit?
When you, as an entrepreneur, when you start a business and you stick your neck out and you decide you're going to put your time, your reputation, and some or a significant amount of your net worth at risk, and you're going to clearly create value for the customers you serve, at the end of the day, you need to make return for your effort. And I think when entrepreneurs start businesses, sometimes they can get a sense of, I'm excited, I started a business, I've done this, I've done that. And some of the decisions they make along the way may not be in alignment with thinking, what are the profit implications of the actions that I'm taking? So what I wanted to do, and it flies in the face of what's popular these days, is really highlight profit. The purpose of a business is to make profit. I'm a big believer in giving back, but if you're going to build a business to make a profit, you need to make sure that you can pay your employees, you need to make sure that you can fulfill your business vision, and you need to make sure that there's something left over to give back. But profit comes first. The truth about failure and success. Well, when I started my first business, I was excited about it, but I had a business that I was very passionate about. It was a magazine business, and I didn't really have any competence in the area of developing a magazine. I did in the real estate business that I started, but I thought, I'm going to start both businesses. I'll start with the one that I know, the real estate business. It was a real estate outsourcing services business, but I'll lay the foundation so that I can get to the one that I'm very passionate about, but did not have competence in. The real estate business took off pretty much from the first month of opening the business. I had relationships, I had contacts, I knew the business model, I knew the industry, and it worked very well. I took all the profits from the real estate business and put it into the passion business, and frankly, after 3 years of running in place and spending all the profits from the first business, I realized there's a big difference between knowing what you're doing and being passionate about what you're doing. Obviously, the ideal is if you know what your business you're in and you're passionate about the business you're in, that's the perfect world. But if you're passionate and you don't know how to work in a certain field, you're taking a huge risk. Targeting profit from the get-go, because if you're putting so much at risk, as I mentioned, your reputation, your time, your family worth, if you're not thinking about how you can build a successful business for the long term, I think the risk is too great to consider going into that particular business. Now, nowadays in the technology field, there's user acquisition, there's eyeballs, and clearly that plays an important role. But even where you have user acquisition and eyeballs, you should still have a goal in mind of how is this thing going to monetize in the future. Your investors are going to want to know that. So I think whether it's a business that makes a profit from the get-go or a business that plans to make a profit in the future, you need to be thinking about how you're going to make money in the short term, mid-term, and long term. Probably first and foremost, we talked about it, is choose a business where you have a competence. I'm a big believer in that. Secondly, make sure that you have adequate funding, whether you're bootstrapping it or you're seeking outside money. You need to make sure that you're not going to run out of gas in mid-flight. Typically, you want to have 18 months of capital, and I would also say build in an extra 6-month cushion, even if your business plan suggests that you would make a profit after the first year. When I started my business, I put a 3-year plan together before I would reach break even. We were very fortunate. The first business I started, we reached break even within the 4th month. I just think it's important when you have the courage to step out on your own, build something on your own. You're funding it, whether it's your money or other people's money. You need to treat it with respect, and you'll probably wind up being very successful.
So one last thing do you have to say for entrepreneurs who are just starting out and are scared and don't know what to do?
I guess what I would say is when we first opened up our office, we took over an office of a gentleman who used to have a pretty high-level position within GE Capital. His name was John Stanger. And I asked him the same question. And John was retiring, and he looked at me and he said, I've got 3 pieces of advice. Do it, do it, do it. And I'm so glad that I followed his advice. There's a ton of uncertainty and unknowns, but it's so worth having control of your destiny and having the potential to really scale something and make it great.